This may well be the most dangerous video I will ever make. Wading into the modern battle of the sexes is tough enough, but there are moments in our culture when some things demand to be said. The loneliness epidemic among men, the constant negativity bias over trivialities in the press. I refuse to stand idly by. The day may come when the courage of men fails, but this is not that day. I must, at grave personal risk, take a stand on a belief I am unwilling to compromise on. Should this be my undoing, so be it. Guys, it's okay to wear color. Not long ago, I was, going through my news feed, and I get a lot of psychology articles because I read them and I put them aside, and one thing came up. Let me put the sword aside just for a second. It's okay to have, swords around. You shouldn't, maybe two and a lightsaber, some Jedi robes. Don't let that affect the message here. But I was flipping through my news feed. I get a lot of psychology articles, and one came up and it said, how to dopamine dress. And I was like, whoa, hey, that's great. That's something I'm interested in. Not just dressing, but dopamine. I could use more. That's one of the big pleasure chemicals that we get in our head. And we do all kinds of things to get it. Like, the rat with the lever. Just, give me some dopamine, please. So I read it, and it was absolutely a good article. But it was obviously intended only for women. And I thought, well, that's kind of something. So I did some more research. Like, is this a thing? Turns out there's lots and lots of articles about dopamine dressing. 100% of them are aimed at women. There's no mention of men at all. So I don't know if I'm filling a niche here or going way out on a limb that's going to break, and maybe I'm, sawing it off. I'm like sitting on the edge and sawing off the limb. But why? We're all men are just expected to wear these sort of corporate pajamas of blue and black and gray. Some of you may remember a long time ago now, long in the before times, kids. We had a president named Barack Obama who got into huge trouble for wearing a brown suit. Brown. And I mean, I'm sure it wasn't just some cheap thing he picked up at Walmart, or like me, I mean, I get a lot of stuff at the thrift store. It was a nice suit with his skin tone. It looked fantastic. It was kind of, slimming. It emphasized his height. It was an utter scandal. It was all Fox News talked about for a week and a half. And this kind of, really got the blue hairs going. And, the black guy's wearing something different. Stop him before our children start wearing the same thing. Wait till they get a load of me. Okay, so color in your wardrobe is allowed. I'm going to link a great interview by Adam Conover with Derek Guy, who's like a style consultant. He's a style influencer, even though he never puts pictures of himself out there. Really great interview about building your collection. And I've always had kind of the collector's urge. Like, for a while, I went through a Pez dispenser phase, by which I mean in my late 40s. I went through a Pez dispenser phase. I've got quite a few. One of them is really collectible. It's a Boba Fett from the 80s. Somewhere in the 80s. I mean, I reduced the value a little bit because I took it out of the package, but I mean, I wanted to hold it and, look at it, put it on. It's in a display case right now. I mean, it's not about the money. So I just got into buying some clothes for a while. And just a couple of weeks ago, I went to the thrift store. I got a couple of really great things. I mean, that pink vest in the Temptation video, if you can see that, I mean, that was like $6. I had to, I went online and bought the pink ascot specifically for that. I have this ascot too. I am such a fan of ascots. I really think we should form the ascot mafia. If you're a fan of my videos here, go get yourself some ascots. It's like it looks formal, but it's way more comfortable than like. I mean, ties are great. Ties are fantastic. Ascots are actually considered more of like the British garden party wear. But you know the 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 Ian McShane in the Wick movies. You know the head of the manager. I think maybe that's the only thing they call him. The manager of the Continental in New York City wears an ascot. Looks fantastic. Um, get yourself. We should form the Ascot Mafia. You want to be my fan? You know what? Start making videos like directed at me. I will reply to them with another video. We can both get dressed up. I assure you, if I'm not a therapist, I'm not training to be a therapist, but boy, I will say nice things to you if you make a video where you dress up and ask me a question. I will absolutely make a reply video to that. So I mean, here's the thing, and one reason why guys are afraid to do this, and in part, our masculinity can be so fragile, and that's true, and in part that's because in the ancient past, sort of, I mean, we're really just kind of cavemen walking around with cell phones these days. But if you were sort of shunned from the group by, say, perhaps getting rejected by a woman, that was death. I mean, that was you out of the cave. You're getting voted off the island, and you're dead. You're isolated. Something is going to eat you. It's over. So that's one reason why guys are so afraid of like trying to fit in and trying to have a masculinity that matches everybody else's and impressing girls. So you're trying to wear the right thing in part because that's also building your persona. It's the part of you that you present to the world, which is I am 100% in support of. If you haven't picked up on that, uh, and I actually think although the ego can get too focused on the persona, and the ancient stuff, narcissism is a big word that's out there. God, there's so many psychology articles about, is your boyfriend a narcissist? How to deal with a female narcissist? 10 things to say to stop a narcissist in their tracks. Here's one of the things. Narcissism, I think it's like psychopathy in that it's kind of real clinical presentation is overestimated. I don't think you can be an entirely healthy being without some narcissism or some self-love. I wouldn't be making videos if I didn't have at least a dash of it, like just a little bit of, spice in the mix. The story of Narcissus is from ancient Greek mythology. Narcissus, who was this beautiful boy who died of thirst while staring into a pool of water, in part because he mistook his actual being for the image that he saw. That's the real story of it. Um, so the things you actually need are right in front of you, but all you're paying attention to is how you look. That is a surefire way to get into trouble. Building a persona that emerges from the depths of the self, which is, where your subconscious instincts come from as you sort of do, it gets a little technical, secondary personalization, individuation, connecting yourself with the deepest thoughts that you have, so deep you're not even aware of them. That's all legit. You can do that. And I want to reference something from the old, I don't think it's as big a thing as it used to be, but for a while there was the, PUA, pickup artistry, that was out there. There was this guy named Mystery. He used to wear a big furry, purple furry top hat. He could, and maybe this was true. Some people said it absolutely was true, that he could just kind of walk into a room and impress women like that, even though he was kind of the weirdest looking guy in the room. Well, that comes from an actual psychological uh, concept, which is called peacocking, which is the peacock, right, has a very long tail, which makes it very easy for a predator to kind of grab it and eat it. And when they see a female and it's mating time, they open that thing up and they're like, hey, ain't I sexy? The thinking, the evolutionary thinking with that is that the peahen, that's what she's actually called, looks at the peacock and his big tail and he's showing it off. And she goes, that guy's been walking around looking like that and nothing's eaten him yet. He's doing something right. I might just go home with him. I'm thinking about it. And hey, no judgment. Absolutely. So peacocking, absolutely real thing. Now dopamine, let's get back to that a little bit. Dopamine is that part of your brain. It's one of the major reward chemicals that the brain produces to say, hey, this was a good idea. I do talk about that a little bit in the temptation video. Uh, you need to sort of do things that are if you do the same thing all the time, you actually get what's called hedonic adaptation. So those things don't make you happy anymore, but you can occasionally boost your. I'm not saying you can never wear a blue suit. I would not show up wearing this to a funeral, which hopefully I won't have to go to any of those anytime soon, knock on wood. But it's why we buy things like that Amazon order is showing up. Jeff Bezos needs to pay me $10 for mentioning his damn company. Uh, or you eat sweets occasionally, or you do something special for yourself just for that moment, that little hit of dopamine. Oh, it's so good. Well, you can do that with your clothes, and maybe to an extent you already are. You've probably got, a favorite pair of jeans or a shirt that, something that you only wear on dates. If that's still a thing, I've heard something like dating is just dying. Nobody's hooking up anymore, which is kind of sad. Find excuses to get dressed up and get the wardrobe to do it. And I recommend ascots. Let's start the ascot mafia. We'll make it a thing. Let's just shun the whole black t-shirt thing from YouTube. Like, hey, I just woke up in this black t-shirt and okay, I'm surrounded by $500,000 worth of equipment and a crew of 18 and this video will get 1 million views in the next 12 hours, but hey, I'm just a guy in a black t-shirt. To hell with that. That's the most inauthentic thing you can do. Expressing yourself. That's authenticity. Being a little unafraid of what everybody else thinks of you. Why are you so worried about what everybody else thinks of you? Have you met people? They're awful. Okay? Oh, let me show you this. I got these. As a graduation present to myself when I earned my master's in forensic psychology. They smell so good. I don't even. Yeah, I could do that all day. Um, these were specially made for me when I ordered them. The snake was still alive. Actually, I don't know if that's true, and it's probably not a great thing to say. Uh, so this is literally like the most expensive piece of kit I own, and I love them. I still want to break them in a bit. I will be wearing them. If you happen to be in the capital region of New York State on September 18th, I will be giving a live lecture on the emotion of anger at the Mount Ida Community Center at 7 p.m. I could really love it if some folks showed up. And here's the thing about wearing boots, right? This heel, which makes me taller, or look taller at least. It doesn't really make me taller, but I look taller. You can't walk in them like you do in your regular shoes, that sort of heel toe thing. Your knee will pop out. So to really walk in them right, you got to kind of swing from the hip and put the shoe down sort of more evenly, even like falling on the balls of your toes a little bit, which isn't a bad place to stand. And it gives you that cowboy swagger. It really, you have to. You have no choice but to swagger when you wear cowboy boots. And once you break them in, they're super comfortable. The only problem is this heel. Like, I don't want to wear them around the apartment to break them in because I'll drive my downstairs neighbor crazy. The one who's directly under me is pretty nice. The one next door is absolutely insane. But in any case, so God, I love these things. I'll be wearing those during my lecture. I'm hoping to get a video of that to put up. So if you want to build things, yeah, go to the thrift store. There's usually like, that's the first thing people give up to thrift stores. It's like, I'm not going to wear that. I don't even know what I was thinking when I bought it. Put it together. Think about colors, study stuff. Also go online. There's, fast fashion is out there. It's not just for women. Unfortunately, it's not usually built to last, but you know, it'll go for a while. How often are you really wearing it? In my case, I'm wearing them every time I do a video, or at least that's part of the wardrobe that I use. Now, look, here's another example. I am so in support of Mamdani's mayoral race for New York City. I really hope he wins. Eric Adams is the current mayor of New York. Sounds like he's been a disaster. But here's the weird thing about Eric Adams, who's, not running in the race at all. And Mamdani, go. I hope you make Bernie Sanders look like Mitch McConnell. And I say that like, Barney's my dude. I see him all the time. He was my mayor when I lived in Burlington, Vermont. Him and my dad were frenemies. Bernie Sanders went to my dad's funeral at Arlington. Um, but anyway, Eric Adams. Just about any time you see an article about him, he's been accused of he's allegedly committed a lot of public corruption. Management of the city hasn't gone all that well under his watch. And they will mention what he was wearing. There was a huge scandal. I guess he went to some kind of Jewish event and he wore a somewhat flamboyant coat with Jewish symbology on it. I don't believe he meant any sort of disrespect by doing it. He was, if anything, I feel like he was trying to celebrate that aspect of the community. People say, oh, he dresses like a Batman villain. And again, it's like the black guy's trying to get away with wearing something different. No wonder he sucks at being a mayor. Look at the way he dresses. Who dresses like that? Well, maybe you can. So, really, this is going to be turning into one of my longer videos. Write me down below. Let's talk. Show me what you're wearing. Whatever it is, clashing plaids can totally work. Color, different styles, ascots, jewelry. You know what? Everybody likes to feel pretty sometimes, and you deserve to as well. So thanks so much for watching the video to the end. A little longer than I had planned to go on this. Give me a like down below. We're going to start doing some new things. We're getting into version 1.2 this weekend for the folks who have been with me for a while. Give some of my old videos a love. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. All right? And let me see what you're wearing.